cancer research shouldn't be the kind of thing that we're arguing about. We should all be in favor of cancer research and finding ways to eliminate cancer, particularly for children.
Welcome to Believe in Progress, the American Association for Cancer Research Foundation podcast. Join us and be inspired by the incredible stories of those who have faced cancer with strength and resilience, and the medical professionals who are working tirelessly to find new treatments and ultimately a cure. Believe in Progress isn't just about the science of cancer. It's about the human side of this disease. Together, we can make progress in the fight against cancer and bring hope to those who need it most. Welcome to Believe in Progress, a podcast from the American Association for Cancer Research Foundation. In this special series recorded live at the 2025 AACR Annual Meeting in Chicago, we're bringing you powerful conversations with researchers, clinicians, survivors, advocates, and thought leaders, all united by one mission: to accelerate progress against cancer. Across this series of episodes, you'll hear from voices at the forefront of discovery and innovation, sharing stories of science, strength, and hope. Whether it's groundbreaking research, lived experiences, or visionary leadership, each guest offers a unique lens into what progress looks like and why it matters. Let's get into today's conversations. Joining us now is Bill Day, an accomplished strategy and marketing executive who spent over 2 decades helping companies navigate change and connect more meaningfully with their audiences. At Maggot, Bill leads teams that blend consumer insight and cutting-edge AI technology to drive smarter marketing. Beyond his impressive career, Bill is also a cancer survivor and a passionate advocate for progress. I want to welcome you, Bill, to Believe in Progress.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is, I got to tell you, being on the floor here, being here all weekend, it's inspiring in a way that I didn't anticipate. Like you said, Mitch, I live in this world, right?
Yes.
I'm flying home tomorrow to have new biopsies done.
Right.
This is every day for me, but having a chance to walk through, CancerCon, right? And really kind of see the energy and the enthusiasm of these folks who are dedicated to finding new tools to tackle cancer it's been really inspiring.
So I said cancer survivor, but you're actively dealing with cancer as well. So could you tell our folks a little bit about your situation?
Yeah, like you said, Mitch, I'm loud about my experience for a couple of reasons. The first is, I just don't know any other way to live, right? I mean, this is what I'm going through, and I don't have any way of kind of masking it. I've got a really rare form of cancer. It's Carney-Stratesis syndrome. It's a combination of 3 different tumors that can and will show up inside you. And the one that I'm dealing with now is a GIST. It's a gastrointestinal stromal tumor.
Right.
The first one was taken out about 9 years ago. It was about the size of an orange, and it's where your esophagus meets your stomach. And I've got 2 new ones that have popped up there. What's interesting about GISTs, and what's interesting, especially as I sit here today, is that GISTs are kind of this new frontier in cancer. That for lots of my friends who are struggling with GIST, for lots of the folks that I share with on the message boards and connect with at clinical trials, GIST is a chronic cancer. It's like having diabetes. They get up every morning and they take a pill, and that pill keeps their cancer at bay. And in a way that we just didn't think was possible 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's pretty remarkable to see what that cancer research has done already for so many people struggling with this cancer. Unfortunately, that's not the case for me. I've got wild type GIST. I've got an SDHB mutation. And what that means is there are no known treatments for my specific flavor of tumor. And look, on the one hand, I'm really encouraged by the developments that have happened just in my lifetime to turn this from a disease who had an average survival rate of 19 months to one that's at 57 months now. And the reason it's 57 months is because folks who are on the initial clinical trial are still alive. Mm-hmm. So that number's growing, actively growing. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Unfortunately, wild-type GISTs is classified as a pediatric cancer. So most of the folks who have this are kids. And so, I'm passionate about finding a cure for it because it's personal to me.
How rare is it? I mean, like numbers wise?
Ridiculously. So Carney strategis is about 1 in a million. So our best estimates are there might be 300 adults in the United States living with this disease. I think there are 30 or 40 of us who are in active trials and active care around the country. You can imagine we all know each other.
I would say, have you met these people?
I've met a number of them,
Okay.
through various forums and trials. We spend time together at Bethesda
Mhm.
on occasion there. And look, I think that's the other piece of this, is that this is a community. This
Right.
is a group of folks who do try to support each other and check in with each other and figure out what's going on, because we know our only hope is cancer research, right? That's the only path forward for us, is to find the new and innovative solutions to make living with cancer bearable, or find a cure so that we don't have to keep doing, the fight every morning.
So this is your first AACR annual meeting, and love to get your impressions of what certainly as somebody who is dealing with cancer, but also as a marketing executive and someone that kind of understands that world.
I spend a lot of time in conference halls like this,
Right.
and have over the course of my career. I guess as a casual observer, when you look around, lots of it feels familiar, right? It's lanyards and coffee stations, and it's breakout
of them.
rooms, lots of them, and breakout rooms and
Right.
charging ports. What's been really inspiring to me, though, is the passion that you hear from these researchers, the folks who are at the top of their game, the top of their field. We were fortunate enough to sit through a couple of the fellows inductions
Yes.
and lifetime achievements,
Yes.
and hearing these folks who just have remarkable resumes and have just done unbelievable work. But the other piece of this is almost more exciting, which is to see all of the young researchers, the early career, the mid-career researchers who are just at the beginning of this journey, and to know that as far as we've come, there are folks lining up to get us the rest of the way there, that they are running towards the finish line as hard as and fast. That's what I'm going to carry away when I leave here, is kind of the hope and the enthusiasm that I feel here.
I just met a young lady who was at Tufts University in an undergrad, and so she's here for the second year as an undergrad, going to Harvard Medical School, but dedicate her life to cancer research. And I, as somebody that works in this field, that's really inspiring, but hopeful.
Yeah.
I think that message of hope really comes through. So you're a relatively new member of the AACR Foundation. What's our challenge? What's our big responsibility?
I think there are two real clear challenges in front of the foundation. I think challenge number one is, whatever the outcome of the current fight that we're having in Washington over funding levels for cancer research and the NIH and HHS broadly, whatever that outcome is, it's clear that the industry, that advocates like myself, that everyday folks who are engaged in this fight, we have to do a better job of telling a story to our friends, to our neighbors, to our colleagues, about just how important and how impactful the work we do in cancer research is, not just for folks like me who are fighting cancer, not just for my family, not just for my friends, but for the communities we live in. I mean, Mitch, you and I happen to live in Philadelphia
Right.
together. 1 in 5 doctors in the United States comes through Philly as part of their training. Every dollar in NIH research funding that comes into Philly generates $2.6 in economic activity. That's critical to the success of places like Philadelphia. It's critical to the success of places like the University of Alabama, right? There are places all over this country where we're doing research. And I want to be clear, these aren't federal handouts. This isn't dollars that we're throwing at things. This is an investment in cancer research. This is an investment in the basic science it's going to take to fight this fight. And if we don't do this together, if we don't line up as a country, if we don't line up as a people to do this, I don't know what else it is that we're supposed to be doing together.
Right.
And so whether those dollars come from Washington or whether they come from the foundation, this is a place where collective action is critical.
Yeah, we need to act as a team, a unified team. And cancer does not discriminate.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate with Republicans or Democrats or
Right.
independents or anybody.
Right.
And so that's why we're all about unifying and being together.
100%. I mean, this is a nonpartisan issue.
Right.
This isn't a bipartisan issue. This isn't something we can all get together and agree on and compromise. This is a nonpartisan issue. And I'm really open to conversations about how and where we structure those funding conversations. But I think the challenge for us on the foundation is to make sure that we build systems and structures, including those support structures, so that everybody understands that these dollars are well spent, they're well invested, and that we are buying the future, not just for you and I, but for our kids and for our grandkids, so that they have better outcomes for these challenges that we're all faced with.
Was there cancer history in your family?
Yeah, so I found my cancer training for a marathon.
Really?
I came back in after
Which marathon?
I was training for the One City Marathon in Newport News, Virginia. It was my first marathon.
Okay.
It was the inaugural run of
Okay.
my hometown marathon. And I came back in from a 10-miler, and I tried eating a bowl of cereal like we often do,
Yeah.
and got 2 swallows in and had a feeling of cessation, right? I was full, and that was that tumor pushing in on my stomach. I didn't know it at the
Pain
time.
or just pressure?
No, it felt like Thanksgiving dinner. It felt like I had eaten too much,
Right.
but it was 3 scoops of
Gotcha.
cereal, and I knew something was wrong. I also knew that my mother was 3 years post-surgery, and so she has a paraganglioma. That is another rare form of cancer, and she'd had that removed. Her brother had the same paraganglioma. He passed away, unfortunately, in
Sorry
December
to
of 2019. Thank you. His son, my cousin, has had a number of those paras and pheos removed, and that's all tied into my particular diagnosis as well. So we knew about the family history of cancer. I had not immersed myself in this world at that point, so it was just kind of living in the back of my head when that diagnosis came through. And since then, as I tease my doctors at the NIH, I feel like I've earned a master's in epidemiology and genetics, right?
Right.
Like help me get a plaque on the wall here.
Right. Tell us a little bit about what you do during the day, your non-volunteer world.
I'm a father of 2. My eldest is finishing her first year of law school in DC. My youngest is finishing up at Penn State. That takes up a lot of our time, is engaging with the 2 of them. I live right in Philly with my wife and our baby puppy, who's 7 years old, but he still thinks he's a baby. And
Bill participated in the annual meeting 5K. As we were kidding earlier, running into a 30-mile-an-hour headwind.
It was brutal.
With water going over the breakers and on the lake, right? But it was
brutal.
fun.
It was great. It was a great run. The turn was great. Coming back with that wind at your back, and
Very much so.
temperatures went up, felt like 15 degrees on the return run.
Yeah.
But that was great. How many runners did we have?
A little over 800.
Yeah.
We raised close to $300,000, which is, for us, it's the best year we've had.
Just
and
remarkable.
Continues to grow in momentum. And, it's really cool to see the scientists are out there, young scientists, older scientists. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and the teams, right?
Yeah.
That was an awful lot of fun to see those teams.
Great participation from our sponsors, AstraZeneca and Revolution Medicine, but many other teams get involved, and it's great camaraderie, and that's a great way to kick off the annual meeting for many of those.
Yeah,
folks.
I run a lot.
Yes.
I run lots of these 5Ks. That enthusiasm felt different, right?
Right.
Like everybody there knew why we were here. Everybody for that run knew what we were doing and how important this work is, particularly in the moment we're living through now. It was.
So, do you have any message for our audience about what they could do and how they could help? Certainly, making a donation would be wonderful, but any other thoughts?
I think there's 2 things. I think this moment is incredibly important. We're living through a period of remarkable disruption, and this is my day job, right? My day job, I track the way people feel about the world around them and how the way they feel changes what they do. And what we know from my day job is we have never seen the level of anxiety and frustration from consumers that we see today.
Mm-hmm.
People feel adrift and they feel lost. And what I know from my research, what I know from my own personal experience, is that one of the best things you can do when you feel lost, one of the best things you can do when you feel anxious, is to find something and grab hold of it. And so the thing that I've been encouraging friends and family and people who are feeling despondent right now is this is super easy. Tell your story. Tell your story. Whatever your story is, whatever your connection to cancer is it your personal story? Is it your family story? Is it a story about your children? Is it about what you're worried about for the future? Those stories are powerful, and I think there's two places that they're really impactful. The first is face-to-face. It's with the people around you.
Right.
Reminding folks that cancer research shouldn't be the kind of thing that we're arguing about. We should all be in favor of cancer research and finding ways to eliminate cancer, particularly for children. That's the first. The second is make sure that the people who represent you are representing you. And I've got a phone tree. I call my representatives every single day, and I've got a speech. And look, it's a nonpartisan speech. I want to be so clear about this.
Do you reach them or you leave a message?
I speak to a member of their staff every single day. I'm fortunate. I happen to know a couple of them. I
Right.
speak to them offline, but I speak to a member of their staff every single day. And what I say to them is super simple. I care about funding for cancer research because cancer research saves lives.
Right.
This is important to me. I'm a constituent of so-and-so. This is important to me, and I want to make sure he knows that it's important to folks who live in the district and that it's important to those of us who care about the future of cancer. And if there's anything I can do to help you in that, I'm happy to do it. So that's a speech I give, almost every day. I do it for both senators and I do it for the representative I live here. And I hassle every member of my family around the country
To do the same.
thing. And look, if you're in the sound of my voice, do it. Pick up the phone, call your representative, and just tell them cancer research is important to you. And it's important that we use our shared dollars and our shared experience to move forward in this fight. And look, the reason for me is simple. I don't get to give up. I know it can feel like a lot. I know picking up the phone every day and making a phone call for 6 minutes feels like a lot. I don't care. This is a lot. We've got friends and family who get up every morning and take a pill to keep cancer from coming back. You've got friends and family who walk in and have poison pumped into their arms to try and keep the cancer off. And all you have to do is make a phone call. It's just that simple. It's just that easy. And it's remarkably impactful, especially in the moment we're living in. So that's my call, Mitch. I just keep ringing the bell.
It's a great call. And to everybody out there, cancer research saves lives. Pretty easy to say.
Yeah.
And I know you all believe it out there. And our friend Bill Day has been a wonderful addition to the foundation board. But again, we care a heck of a lot about you. We're wishing you the best, and we're going to work our tails off to try to make some impact and do the thing we need to do. But really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on Believe in Progress, and more importantly, thanks for your work with the foundation, with AACR, cancer research in general, and just being here with us. It's really been a pleasure.
Well, thanks for having me, Mitch. Thanks for inviting me to join the board. This has been great.
You're the man. Thank you. Bill, thank you for your thoughtful insights and for sharing both your professional expertise and personal journey. Your perspective on resilience and innovation is a true reminder of the progress we're all working toward. Hi, everyone. This is Mitch Stoller, Chief Philanthropic Officer at the AACR and the host of Believe in Progress. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. I wanted to take a quick moment to remind you that your support is vital in our fight against cancer. As we always say at the AACR, cancer research saves lives, but we cannot do that without the generous support of people like you. If you're moved by the stories and insights shared in our podcast, please consider making a donation to AACR by visiting aacr.org. Your contributions help fund essential research and provide support to those affected by cancer. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to the Believe in Progress podcast. By subscribing and sharing with your friends and family, you help us reach more people with these important conversations. Thank you for your support. Now let's get back to the episode. Now we're joined by Glenn Sykes, a kidney cancer survivor, advocate, and a strong voice for the patient community. Glenn's journey has taken him from stage 3 diagnosis to becoming a research advocate, helping shape the future of cancer care by ensuring that patient perspectives are heard. We've known Glenn for a number of years now. Glenn's been involved in some of the activities at AACR, and welcome to Believe in Progress, our podcast. Great to have you here.
Thanks for the welcome. It's great to be here, Mitch.
Love to hear a little bit more about your story, and I think the folks in the audience would also like to hear about What's been going on with you?
As you mentioned, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer in 2010. I became metastatic in June 2015. So I've been living with metastatic kidney cancer since June 2015, so almost 10 years. And I've had excellent care. I've gone through lots of treatment, and unfortunately I haven't been cured, but I've been really on the lucky side in terms of treatment, tolerated those really well. When I retired in June 2019, I decided to get more involved in something important to me, which is the world of cancer, patient perspectives and things. So I started to get involved as a research advocate for an organization, AACR, which sponsors clinical research in adult cancers. And I focus on GU cancers, specifically renal cancers, and I bring the patient voice to the design of clinical trials. Through that work, I've gotten more involved in other activities, particularly in the world of patient education, starting first in helping patients figure out how to decide if a clinical trial is right for them. About a year ago, I started to think of other topics that I had an interest in talking about, that I thought were important to the patient population, and settled on the topic of how to manage a relationship with your oncologist. It's an incredibly important relationship. You certainly have a lot of stressful moments with your oncologist, hopefully some happy moments as well. And you're navigating through one of the most important things in your life, your disease. So I've started to speak about that. I'm continuing to get opportunities to speak about that, and developing kind of the body of knowledge about that topic, I think, has been really informative for me.
Are the oncologists receptive to these relationships?
That actually was my starting point. I took that topic to a group of oncologists at AACR during a meeting to say I felt like I'd run out of steam on the clinical trial at a personal level. And I had this idea of a topic. Do you think it'd be interesting to you? Do you think it'd be interesting? And man, lots of hands going up and say, yeah, I would love to hear the patient side. I would love to hear on my side as well.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed today here at the conference this afternoon, there's a session on that actual topic. Yeah. So I think oncologists are really interested in that topic. Some have a comfortableness to it, some don't have a comfortableness with it. So I think there's a lot of interest on both sides, the oncologist side and also the patient and the caregiver side.
And talk a little bit more about the clinical trial work that you were doing, because that's obviously critically important too. How did you do that with the patient? Because that's pretty tricky, right?
It is. Maybe not as tricky as you think, because I don't have a science background. That isn't my training educationally, nor was it my career. So sometimes it does take some effort to kind of understand a little bit of the science. I have to accept, nor is it my role to deeply understand the science, but I do understand the patient perspective. So I have enough sense about my own experience and what I think the patient experiences through my connections to other patient communities about what do patients care about, what's important. The fundamentally starting question is are they solving a problem that's important to patients? And then the second question is, in solving that problem, what are they asking of patients? And is that too much? And are patients going to be willing to give that up in order to be part of a fact-finding solution to a problem that we hope is important to them?
Have you been to an AACR annual meeting before?
This is my first time.
I thought this was what are your impressions?
Man, one of my impressions is cancer is a big business. I'm sitting here in the exhibit hall, and I see all kinds of names that are familiar to me, unfamiliar to me as well. So that's one thing. I'm surrounded by 22,000 people that are here because they have an interest in helping people with cancer. Hopefully helping treat them, make sure they are comfortable. Ultimately, I hope everyone's wish is to find a cure.
Right. Have you had the chance to go to any sessions and take in some of the scientific sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't gone to all the scientific sessions, but I've gone to a number of them. Some of them are truthfully over my head.
Right.
But what I enjoy is sort of hearing the big picture questions they're trying to resolve. I think I can help. I can think about big picture questions sometimes more than the actual details and waterfall plots and all those things.
Right. Well, also, I think, scientists really do want to get a patient's perspective on things. I think that can certainly help their research efforts. And perhaps you've seen that in the work that you do anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always caution people to say, it's not as though your oncologist or your doctor doesn't have a patient perspective, because they do. They're with patients all day long. And they do understand a patient perspective. But I also find that they have blind spots as well. And I'll give you an example if you want one. So I was
Please.
working with a group of doctors on a trial. This is a radiation oncologist, so someone we would go to for radiation treatment. And I think that the common belief in radiation is that it's a quick thing, right? You kind of come in, you leave, and you may come back, the day after or the day after that. So, and it's true. That's absolutely true. And I've had radiation myself, so I can speak from firsthand experience. But it's not necessarily you come in and you come in right away. You come in and 20 minutes later you leave. I had to point out the fact that, well, first of all, to get to the institution may be quite an ordeal. The common belief was, you can come in your lunch hour. Some people don't have lunch hours. You have elder care issues, you have child care issues you have to mend with, and then when you get to the facility, they have problems as well. So what happens if the machine is down? What happens if the person in front of you in the machine has a problem?
Real life
So it is in
issues.
and out. And I think those are some of these examples, small examples, some of the blind spots may exist when you're really living the experience as a patient.
Now you said you're metastatic, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
what's going on? What does that mean, really?
Sure. What it means is that your original primary cancer, and my primary cancer, kidney cancer, was in my kidney, has gone to a distant area. In my case, it went to the lungs, which is probably the most prevalent pathway for a cancer to spread. And then it can spread further. It can spread to different organs, to bones, all over your body. So metastatic cancer means your original cancer has grown, and you treat that, and hopefully you treat it in a way that it goes away, or you treat it in a way that allows you to maintain a quality of life.
Which you seem to have done a pretty good job with.
I don't want to overblow my role in that. I think it's good fortune, but I have been really fortunate when I think of other patients with all the treatments I've had, and I've had local treatments, drug treatments as well, that my body has tolerated it well. So it's good luck.
And do you stay in good shape? I mean, you try to stay active from a fitness perspective?
I absolutely do. And I just had a discussion with a friend of mine that lives here in Chicago about that. He has had prostate cancer, and we talked about sort of the role that fitness has to play. And we want to believe, I think, that if you're in good shape, that you're not going to get cancer. And that's not true. Doesn't work that way.
Right.
And perhaps I was in the best shape of my life when I got diagnosed with cancer, and that is sort of part of the disbelief. It's like, how could I get cancer? I'm take care of myself. And here's how I think about it: it doesn't keep you from getting cancer, but if you keep yourself in a healthy state, it allows you. First of all, you're doing things that probably feel good to you, so you have a better outlook, you have a better attitude about things, and I think that's immensely important when you're getting treated for something serious. And then also, when you're in treatment, it's important to stay healthy. You don't want, they have a term called comorbidities, which are other things wrong with you besides cancer. And when you have comorbidities or other things that are wrong with you, and some of those things can be as a result of not taking care of yourself, a poor diet, smoking, obesity, all those things can contribute to you having other problems, which can certainly work against you, I think, in treatment. So that's how I think about fitness.
You said you were retired. What was your profession?
Yeah, I was in the business world my entire career. I spent the first 12 years or so as a practitioner, so working in the business world. And then I spent the remainder of my career working in business education. So I worked for 2 universities, the business school of 2 universities. I had an administrative appointment. I finished my time as a dean of students at the University of Chicago Business School.
Oh, really? So right here.
Right here in Chicago.
There's a name for that school.
The Chicago Booth.
Booth. Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter used to work there.
Oh.
Yeah, but she was in the New York office, though.
Oh,
yeah.
I think maybe we may have talked about that.
We did.
Yeah, I met her because when I was in New York, I would sometimes visit that office just as a place to hang out.
That's
I think
right.
we may have talked about that.
That's right. And now you reside in Philadelphia?
Yeah, Philadelphia is my hometown, and once I retired in June 2019, I resettled back in Chicago, which I'd like to say that was my plan all along, but I'm not sure, but it turned out to be a really good situation.
Just delighted that you're here at the AACR Annual Meeting this year, and really appreciate what you do, and we wish you nothing but the best and great health in the future.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for
Mitch.
joining us today.
All right, thank you.
All right. Glenn, thank you for sharing your powerful story, your resilience, and for all you do to make sure patients are not just treated, but truly heard. Your work is making a huge difference for so many. Thanks for listening to Believe in Progress, the AACR Foundation podcast. We hope these conversations from the 2025 annual meeting left you informed, inspired, and reminded that every story and every discovery brings us closer to a cure. To learn more, support cancer research, or explore additional episodes, visit aacr.org or search for Believe in Progress on your favorite podcast app. Please remember to subscribe to Believe in Progress on your favorite podcast platform and share these episodes with someone who may need them. Together, we can and we will accelerate the pace of progress against cancer. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay engaged, and remember, cancer research saves lives.